Wasted so much time on people who should've just been ignored. If I slow down now, I'll pump the brakes. What was it all for? What was it all for? What was it all for? I'ma make this shit count, though.
I'm very nice. I can literally drink alcohol and I can feel it literally going down my throat, and I can feel it, and then I can feel the effects. Yeah. So I totally agree with you. People and I've got associates, friends, 14 pints, mate. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Because you've built up a tolerance where you can be functionally drunk, but not you know, you can function on it, you know.
100%, yeah, and you know, the amount of people who are alcoholics, they are literally alcoholics, and they haven't got a freaking clue, man.
A clue? No.
I always say to people, right, okay, so you don't need to drink. Okay, when was the last time you had a drink? And I'll say to them, let me stop you there. You drink at least every 4 days. Every fourth day, you have a drink. And they go, no, I don't. I'll go, go on, think about it. When was the last time you had a drink? And I'll go, okay, Thursday. Okay, so you had a drink on Thursday, but then it was Friday, wasn't it? So Friday you had a drink too. And you got really drunk on Friday. So Saturday you felt a bit rough, but you still had a drink just to get over it. And then you got really drunk because it was Saturday. And then Sunday you felt like shit, but you had a glass of wine or two with your Sunday dinner.
Yeah.
And now you're back at work on Monday.
Yeah.
And I bet you by Thursday you're back.
You're back on it.
And you know why? Because it takes 4 days before you've actually got no alcohol in your system.
Mm.
It's crazy, isn't it? The whole world is just hooked on alcohol.
Yeah.
And it is the gateway drug. And there's no two ways about it. Mm. There's no two ways about it. I wouldn't have tried any other drug ever of any description if it wasn't for alcohol.
Come on, look. Do you remember the you will remember mid-90s? You remember when Hooch came out and all those Alka Pops and the devastation that was causing?
I was in Blackpool when that came out, Hooch. Yeah. I was living in Blackpool. What a place for a young man with too much sex drive and too many hormones. I was living in Blackpool, and I was like, oh my God, he nearly killed me, man. But
I can imagine. You must have had a lot of fun up in Blackpool.
What I can remember, you know, I've got a couple of friends, and without them, I would have to basically write off 15, 20 years of my life. Seriously, I wouldn't remember it. I have people come up to me all the time, and they speak to me like they know who I am, and they're my best friend. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know who you are, mate. I don't know who the hell you are. And I'm thinking, in a minute, I'll remember who they are.
Yeah.
And they'll have had one night out with me on a Tuesday. They bumped into me in a pub, and the next thing they knew, they were in Birmingham in a strip club.
Yeah.
Eat up or something. And then we got to get up to work the next morning. It's like, it's crazy, mate.
Yes.
It's crazy. Apparently, I had a really good time, but the truth is, I can't really remember most of it.
It's a blur.
It's fun. Yeah. And then when I discovered pot, so I was always anti-drugs, right, when I was younger. So I was brought up in that era of drugs are bad. I remember someone at my school was rumoured to have smoked a spliff, and it was like the biggest story the school had ever known. Like,
of course.
Wow, it was mad. And now it wouldn't be nothing, let's face it. It wouldn't be nothing at all. And it just shows you how things change, doesn't it? You know, it just shows you how the whole dynamic of, it's crazy. It's crazy. But back to the thing where we was talking about it being a gateway drug. When I was that age, I was the kid, if there was a house party, I would be sniffing the butane or the glue or the petrol out.
Or the paraffin.
Or the paraffin. I'd be that kid. I wouldn't see anything wrong with that. Right, but I wouldn't touch drugs.
No, think of the logic of that. I'll take the chemicals, but I'm not going to take the weed or anything.
Again, it's the education system, isn't it?
Yeah.
All they're saying is, this chemical, bad, this chemical, that's all right, because you can buy it in a shop.
Yeah.
And that's what the brain tells you, you know? It's like, that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
And then we also had the message from Grange Hill, you know, just say no.
Just say no, yeah. Yeah. And everyone did say no for a while. But I think what's happening now is the kids have seen the effects of alcohol, on their growing up and their families and their
Yes.
families, and
Yes.
the heartache that alcohol causes,
Hmm.
and the amount of money it costs. I used to spend vast amounts. I'd be rich now if I hadn't drank, I think.
I can imagine.
You
I
know,
can
it's
imagine.
like so expensive drinking. And I was like one of those people who would always, I'd be the life and soul of the party, but not because I wanted to be the life and soul of the party. It's because I wanted the drinking to carry on.
You
Do you
didn't
see
want
what
the,
I mean?
you didn't want, you still wanted to be in that moment, that
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that time. Yeah.
Chasing that dopamine, chasing that dopamine, and alcohol has this special way about it that you can never kind of like get quite enough dopamine out of it, and that's why you keep drinking,
Mm,
trying to chase that because you're depleting the alcohol so quickly, your
yeah.
body's kind of
Metabolizing it.
metabolizing it, but you want that high to carry on, and the only
Yeah.
way to do it is to keep drinking, keep drinking, keep
Yes.
drinking. You
Yes.
know,
I learned at a very young age, no, not very young, but in a teenage, early 20s, overdoing it on the old Remy Martin, or a bit before that, it would have been the White Lightning,
white
you have.
lightning, man. Oh, I used to get a bad head, didn't
Exactly. I mean,
I?
you have these experiences as a youngster because it's all about the experience. It's about testing and understanding where your boundaries are and where your limits are. And as a youngster, you go over those limits, and you get, you're lying in bed, the room's spinning, and you're praying and you're saying, "Oh, please
I
let
don't
this
know
go
how I'd
away."
end up now. You
Yeah.
know, if it was my time now and I was a 13-year-old at school, I don't know, man. I don't know how I'd end up.
The
I
pressure
really don't.
is look, because look, as you say, the alcohol, that's probably, I mean, let's do 50-50. Take 50% of the population of youngsters who will say, based upon the effects of my parents and blah blah blah, I'm not even going to mess with it. And this is at maybe 6-7 years of age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you've got the other 50%. Well, look, I don't care. They're drinking alcohol. I'm going to drink it. That mindset then turns into, oh well, I can go to that news agents because they're selling those legal highs, those ecstasy things, so the
Yeah.
this, the was it flocker and all this is crazy stuff. And look at the effects.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my best friends, right? He's big potted, and I used to be a massive pot smoker, right? And I know that one of the best things to get someone off pot or alcohol or cigarettes is mushrooms, right? Psychedelics. And to him, taking a mushroom is like, no way, man. No way. But I'm like, but you're already taking psychoactive drugs. You're already taking
Yeah,
nicotine. You're already taking
yeah.
pot, but you won't take a little bit of that because why? Why? Because you've been told it's like woo, you know. But he wouldn't think twice about buying a legal high. He wouldn't think
which
twice about it.
which is which it's worrying. That is
Yeah,
very worrying.
yeah.
It really is a legal. Like, no, people are
And
still
all they have to do
dying.
is change one little bit of it, don't they? So they'll
Exactly.
go banned, change that little bit, change that
This is it.
quote there, put a
One
little bit
mod.
of salt in there or something. It
Come on.
doesn't do anything to it,
Yeah.
and it's passed again, isn't it?
A
It's
little bit of
crazy,
filler
man.
here, a little bit of a filler there. It's
Yeah.
it's unfortunately a planned design, unfortunately. It's going to take people to do as we've been discussing, to have that proactive approach in controlling their own destiny. Currently, if someone has a uniform on, that's the authority. The government, that is the authority. I live by what they say. Not, well, I was born, with untapped, unlimited potential and ideas and imagination. Let me run with that. Let's see how far I can go in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can, but one of the greatest things that I discovered in the last 5 years of being sober was Napoleon Hill. You ever read Napoleon Hill stuff?
No, I haven't
Oh,
read any of his. No.
you've got to, man. Well, Napoleon Hill was kind of the original self-help guru.
Okay.
And what he did, he got a job for free. For 20 years, he worked for free, right? And he followed around Andrew Carnegie, who was like one of
Yes,
the richest men in the world at the time.
indeed. Yeah.
And with him, he got to meet 500 of the world's richest people and interview them at depth and spend time with them and find out what was the common causality between all of them that made them a success.
Mm-hmm.
And his most famous book was Think and Grow Rich.
Okay, I know.
Right?
I know
Think
that.
and Grow
Yes.
Rich.
Yes.
That's his main one. And there's so much in that, which again kind of links all the way back to like this talk about frequency and things like that, and the cosmos and
Yes.
stuff that we don't get taught about.
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of that book is knowing what you want, having a definite of purpose, I think the phrase is. If you know what you want, right, and you think about that first thing in the morning and last thing at night, your subconscious is so amazing.
Exactly.
I use my subconscious all the time now.
Programming
Honestly,
it.
if I've got a problem and I can't work it out, you can probably see it. This is like a little snapshot.
Oh yeah, I see.
All the white, my whole house is full of whiteboards, mate, with crazy ideas on them and stuff. But it's like one thing that I do is I write down what I want this time next year. And you watch that, get it into your subconscious, and your subconscious will just make it happen, man.
Oh yeah.
It's since I've been doing it for the last 2 years, the stuff that's happened, and it's like I look at this board and I think, oh my God, I wrote that down a year ago and now it's here.
Yes. So do you have a vision board as well, or is this part of the vision board?
Mine's just all done with writing and stuff like that. So kind of a vision board without the photos, I suppose.
Certainly. Okay. So
this is I did do. It's the way you word things as well. I know you like words yourself, and it's like I changed everything recently to I shall have, I shall do this, I shall be on this.
Words are powerful. Yes.
Yeah, and it was almost like dropping a gear down.
Oh yeah.
It was like, whoa, when everything started happening.
What was you saying before, Christian? What was you writing before? I want. I would like.
Yes, I want. I think I was putting I want or something like that.
Yeah.
Instead of being that little bit more affirmative.
And defined and definite with what you're writing down.
Yes. Yeah. And the very act of writing it down as well, that's another thing that's happening to society, isn't it? People aren't writing things down, or it's like I keep a journal every night. I fill out my diary.
That's a good thing to do. Unpack the day.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. If you smoke pot, you ain't going to do that. A couple of times I've fallen off the wagon with smoking pot. And the first thing that goes out the window, my journal.
Yeah.
Seriously. Every time I got stranded in Amsterdam a few weeks ago. I mean, of all the places to get stranded is Amsterdam. At that point, I'd stopped smoking cigarettes by 5 days, and I'm stuck there. And then they lost my suitcase. So now I'm stood in clothes I've been traveling for 4 days, right? In Amsterdam, on my own. I'm like, for fuck's sake, man. So I went down into the town.
As you do.
20 minutes away from the airport. It took me 4.5 hours to get back, dude. 4.5 hours. I got so lost in the train station.
The train station is massive. That's why, and they've got all of those entrances and stuff to get in and out.
I think it's designed to confuse you. Just keep you trapped in there. And I'm stood there, and I was
just stay a little longer, Christian.
I was tapping the screen and I was like, how do you get the tickets out of it? I'm tapping the screen, and out the corner of my eye, I can see this other guy, and I don't even look at him. I said, mate, I said, are you English? He says, yeah, I'm English. I said, do you know what you're doing with this machine? He says, no. I says, are you as high as me? He says, yeah, I think I am, man. We was both stood there like animals just touching the screen, expecting it to give us an answer. But honestly, it took me 4.5 hours to do a 20-minute journey. And at one point, I was nearly home, right? And I'm sat in this on my own. I bought 2 cakes. I've got 2 cakes, right? And I put them there. And when I get back to the hotel, I've got these 2 cakes. And don't forget, I haven't smoked no pot at this point for months and months and months and months. So it's like I'm like double whammy there.
Yeah.
And there's this Dutch guy opposite me, bless him, and he was explaining to me the stop when I get off. He was saying, when I get off, you wait one more stop, you get off, and that's where your hotel is. I was like, I love you, my friend. I absolutely love you. He gets off. I looked at my phone.
Oh shit!
Then I did that weird thing that only drugs can do to you. I time traveled. I looked back up and I realised, oh shit, I'm at the next train station. So I gets up, walks out. Immediately the door's shut. I see my cakes in the window go off.
Ah.
It was the same bloody train station, wasn't it? It hadn't moved. I looked at my phone. It felt like 20 minutes I've been looking at my phone. It'd been like 20 seconds. I was stood there on the side of the thing and just thinking, oh, there go my cakes.
Christian, I think everybody has an interesting story going to Amsterdam. It's a very, let's say, magical place, should we say?
It's a strange place, I'll give it that. I mean, the thing is, it's like I always think to myself, I should grow up soon and these things should stop happening to me. I'm 51 now, like, you know, and it's like, come on, grow up, Chris.
Well, look, you're definitely growing up, Christian, but you're still young at heart, clearly. You're still young at heart. You still got that vitality. And this is an excellent segue because this is how I stumbled across yourself, sir.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, I was intrigued.
On the old YouTube, I always like to, look at various different bits and pieces when I'm not studying. So this is wind down time. So I'll look at various things like sort of gardening tips and that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, I'm currently experiencing some issues in regards to rodents in my garden.
Okay.
So I thought, let me have a look. Let me have a look around and let me have a look. And strangely enough, your video was right there. And I clicked on it and I heard the accents. I thought, this guy is from the Midlands. Is he a Brummie? And I watched the video and I watched another video and then I watched another video and I watched another video and I probably watched maybe 10, 15 videos, just one after the other, subscribed. And I thought, I like the energy. I like the fact that you're proactively saying what you're doing, showing, very customer focused, not killing everything. So using the non-toxics, using, the various different types of traps and stuff. I thought I love it. This is excellence. Yeah. Fast forward, and obviously I've got in contact with yourself so we can have this conversation, sir.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, isn't it amazing, like, because people like yourselves, you want the genuine article to explain to you why you've got rats, right? But the problem is the way the media of the world is stacked, like the Daily Mirror, right? I sound a little bit vicious there, but the truth is, like, everything I do 110%.
Exactly.
I can't do 75%. It's either 110% or I don't do it.
Or nothing,
That's why I ended up as an alcoholic, probably. That's why I ended up like a massive pothead, because I needed to do it 110%. That's why I've never touched heroin, It's like, because if I did, I'd be really good at it,
What star sign are you, Christian, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm Cancerian, I think. Oh. Sidestepping crab.
So Cancer, that's July, June, July?
June. I was born end of June 29th.
Aha. I understand that. I understand why you're saying what you're saying in regards to if you're going to do something, you're not going to do it half-hearted. You're going to do it 155,000%.
I cannot do anything unless I'm going to do it properly.
You committed to it?
Yeah. It's like, I won't even say I'll do something unless I know I'm going to do it. If a customer says to me, will you do this, will you do that? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm going to do this. If I don't need to do that, I'm not going to do it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to solve your problem if I agree to take that problem on.
Indeed.
But don't agree to take it on. You kind of had it, because I don't know who else to take it on if I don't take it on. Yeah. So I like a challenge.
Indeed. As I've seen from the videos.
yeah. Well, I mean, the algorithm, it's baffling, really. It really is baffling, because it's like we were just saying, what people really want is they want an answer to their problem. That's where we should be picked every time, because we explain it, we show it. And then we've got our competitors,
oh gosh,
especially from across the water. And it's just like, yeah, man, do this, do that. And I try to do it sometimes. You might have picked it up a little bit on the video. I'm kind of doing it a bit tongue-in-cheek, really, because I know they watch all our videos. I don't really watch anyone else's.
Yes.
Honestly, I don't. I just see the occasional thing. I think, oh, that was kind of interesting. and I try and do it like in a bit tongue in cheek. But there's no better vibration to give out than authenticity.
Mm.
If you're authentic in what you're saying and what you believe in and what you do, you shouldn't really have any problems, not in the long term of life anyway. That's what I would say. That's what I've discovered on this very convoluted journey that I've had.
Yeah. You
And it
reap
just
what you
gets,
sow.
well, yeah, you know, there's so much in them biblical words.
As a youngster, and I say this so often, as a youngster, you know, I was raised a Roman Catholic, so I went through the full, you know, gambit of that religious dogma. And as a youngster, I appreciated it to a point, but there was no value to it. It was just something. It was a process. It was a ritual on a Sunday. You'd go and do the altar boy service and all that kind of stuff. As you get older and you start to research the myriad of all the different religions and the new ones, and you see the comparisons, and you can see, you know, as I say, you do have wide cross comparison, and you start to look at the geo-social political turmoil which is around this plane of existence, and you look a bit closer to home and you think, okay, outside of man, there's definitely some kind of spiritual warfare going on. And then you start to draw back onto your youth, and you start to look actually at the book itself, the Holy Bible. He only left you basic instructions before leaving earth. And you think, oh, okay. So religion, to restrain, to hold, to bind. Oh, so that's what religion's for. So ultimately, we don't need a guide in the form of a pope, as a father, as an elder, as a bishop. We just need to have a look at that book and try and make sense out of it. And by all means, I don't mean you don't need to seek guidance from a theologian or a priest, pastor, whatever it may be. But ultimately, it's about you having a personal relationship with the Most High, with the Creator Force.
And you know what? This is what I think. This is what I think I believe. Right? That's a weird way to say it, isn't it? We are God. We all know what's right. We all know what's wrong. And in here, your subconscious, that's everything, right? That's God. When you take this connotation and you start putting it against biblical texts or any other religious kind of book, right? Or go back through history and actually think about it like, what if I am God? What if I am Satan? What if that is in all of us? We all think, right? We all think that we could never be that Nazi pushing a Jew into a gas chamber. Guess what? Yeah, you could. Yeah, you fucking could. And you know what? All them 80% of people who, for the last 4 years, like sheep, followed exactly what they've been told to do, right?
Yeah.
All of them would be the ones pushing the Jew into the gas chamber and going back home and saying to his wife, our day to day, I had to gas 50 of them. Right?
I'll just do my job though, Christian.
Exactly. Just do my job. And it's all about to come out again now, isn't it? Let's see. Let's see. Will there be another Nuremberg trial? I don't know. But all I know is the evidence that's out there. I think we're kind of talking about the same kind of subject without saying it. But the evidence that's out there right now is so overpowering that the only defense that they're going to have is that, well, we were all that stupid that we all went along with it. And I just happened to. I just happened to do something like push people in a gas chamber. Because the death toll is rising and rising and rising, my friend.
Because you have the eyes to see, Christian, and the ears to hear. As many other people, based upon the experience, based upon us, as I have dubbed it, the zombie apocalypse, it's like, wait a minute, there's sense and there's nonsense. Like, what on earth are they? What have they done to us?
Yeah.
Report your neighbor.
It's like they can't help but tease. This is the satanic mindset, my friend. This is the way satanic people are. they can't stop teasing. They can't stop rubbing your face in it.
Yeah.
Just so that us 20% or 10%, no matter how many it is. You know what, right? Sometimes I'll drive along, I'll look at people. I'll drive through a town centre, I'll look at them, and I just think, bring on the coal. Bring on the coal. I'll flick the switch for half of them.
Yeah. I totally understand what you mean.
Do you know where I'm coming from? Because you look
Yes.
at them, and if you was to drop them off in a jungle and say, right, here's a shovel, here's a knife,
And a
here's some
compass.
water, survive,
Yeah.
they'll be dead in a day.
A day.
Most of them would trip over and stab themselves. You know, they wouldn't even die in a good way. You know, try to bite something or catch some food. They'd literally fall down a hole and hurt themselves and lie there and wait till someone saved them.
Help! Help!
Yeah.
Someone save me!
But the thing is, when society just keeps on doing the same thing, generation after generation, when we go around to people's houses, mate, right? Honestly, it's very rare we go to houses that are absolute quagmires and horrible. Very rare. I thought when I started being a pest controller, I was going to be like in that kind of thing. It's not true. I think those people couldn't give a crap. That's what happens, you know? Most of the places we go to are absolutely immaculate, spotless houses and stuff. But when you do go to those squalor houses, they've always got something in common. There's always someone looking after them that ain't much better than them.
Exactly.
And all they do is finish their shift, go home, eat crap food from a processing plant that they've never seen. It's like, where do all the burgers come from, dude?
Thank you.
Where do all the burgers come from?
Christian,
I love burgers.
Yeah.
But every time I eat one, I think, well, if one McDonald's, right, makes that many burgers in a day, say they get through 1 cow a day, and there's a McDonald's on every other corner of every other road in the whole country, where are all the cows?
Yeah.
Where are they?
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
got to be huge factories full of cows or meat being grown.
Now we're digging, sir. Now we're going deep down the rabbit hole.
Like common sense says it to you, doesn't it? You know, all you've got to do is drive in the countryside and realise that you never see huge fields full of cows like you did a bison in North America.
Exactly.
Right? That's what you would need.
Of course.
Look at how many we used to kill. And there was and we weren't like overflowing with beef, was we? All them bison we shot. It's like, well, what? But now we can all eat beef every day.
Every day. And don't forget the chicken. I was just about to say, don't forget the chicken. And you can go down your local high street and then you can buy chicken and chips and a drink for £1.99. I'm like, how on earth is that even possible for them to turn a profit and produce food? Because it's not food. It clearly isn't food that they're selling. It can't be.
It's the addictiveness in all the foods as well. It's like, there's so much. I mean, I always say to people, right? I mean, we always pick on McDonald's, but it could be Burger King, it could be Kentucky,
all of them.
It could be any of these chains, right? They will have a massive department of scientists and people like that, right? And I always think, well, how good can you make a burger, right? How many more tweaks can you do? What are these people, these scientists, doing all day long for mega bucks from a corporation? A corporation only does stuff and pays for stuff if it's a profitable venture. Right? So where are all these people? What are they doing in these scientific laboratories at a meat factory?
Yeah.
What are they doing? I think I know what they're doing. They're making things that they can put in your food that they don't have to mention on the label, or that doesn't get picked up in tests by the Ministry of Food or whoever.
FDA.
Right? The FDA in America, isn't it? Yeah. It's like my son, Ricky was in Miami, right? And he kept sending me photos of labels of stuff. like he found a can of Fanta or Tango or one of those, which over here is bad, right? And he took me a photo of it. Fructose, corn syrup, all these other E numbers that are banned over here. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
But that's America.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's not going to a third world country where they're taken advantage of. It just happens that they've got that in on there, that addictive substance there. So what they've had to do is pay a scientist to find something else that we can have in our drink that makes it just as addictive and
Indeed.
just as damaging.
Indeed.
And it
Yes.
all feeds back in, doesn't it?
Mm,
It all
totally.
feeds back in. People don't understand that the same shareholders that own money in these big corporate poison machines are also the same people at the other end of it who are doing the cancer treatment. You know, it's all the same companies.
It's a
It's
big
all the
circle.
same thing. All
Big
goes
circle,
round
yes.
and round.
And let's look at the fact that we've got. I'm sure I saw a video very recently of a woman in her 50s or 60s who's got a McDonald's burger all wrapped up in the bun.
Oh, right. It's not been rotten or anything.
But this is longer than that guy from the thousands. This is like 30 years old, the burger is.
Wow.
30 years old.
And
The bun's still, it's a bit crumpled, but there's no mold, and there's no mold, nothing growing on either the bun or the burger itself.
And every time you eat one of those things that nothing can live on, your gut is having to deal with those things.
Yeah.
Your gut biome is getting destroyed. It's destroying it, you know, and that's, I mean, it's like all this stuff that's coming out about the gut biome and how important it is and stuff. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. You know, it's like, and why are they feeding you sugar all day?
Constantly.
It's like when I found out about what sugar does to you. Oh my God. It's like it basically just rips the vitamins out of you.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go and you're living on fruit and vegetables and organic meat all day long, and at the end of the day, you eat a big bottle of Coke, right? Well, you might as well have not had any of that good food, because what that does, your body is so geared to getting that rare commodity, because you would have had to go and deal with some bees.
Yeah.
Right? You ain't doing that, believe me.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't doing that unless you really want some sugar, right? It really hurts, mate, taking bees out where they don't want to go.
I can imagine,
right? So that's why our brains is built in this way that goes, sugar, I've got some pure sugar. I don't give a shit about vitamins. I don't give a shit about protein. I don't, and it just goes straight through.
Straight through, yeah.
And that's what sugar does to you every day, and destroys your gut biome and everything else that's there. But we just think, but the NHS, when I was at school, they used to have that plate.
The food charts.
The food, and you got to have this. Mine's the opposite. I'm pretty much, as soon as I get hold of myself, right, again, and give my head a wobble, I need to get back on the healthy eating. And I will start with a 50-hour fast, right? I'll do a 50-hour fast, 56 hours, I think the maths is. Again,
wow.
Every day isn't too good.
So that's no solids, just liquids for 50 hours.
I've never done it as a non-smoker, right? And I don't know how well I'm going to do.
It's going to be challenging.
Was, I think, just short of 80 hours. And I did it with bone broth.
Okay,
right?
That's an excellent source.
It's a lot easier because you've got something, you still get a little bit of a dopamine in it because you're drinking some crappy water, basically, but it's like something. And your brain knows that. Because a lot of people think that you get a dopamine hit when you get the thing. No, you get the dopamine hit when you're making it. When you're making the bone broth, your dopamine is now spiking, because that's what dopamine's for, is to drive you to climb that tree, get that thing, to do the horrible thing, and then you can drink it. Drinking it, the dopamine stops at that point, as soon as it touches your lips. And it's the same with alcohol, right? But the difference is with alcohol, it's adding a dopamine hit at the same time as taking it away, type of thing. And that's where the addiction comes in.
Yes.
But it's... We're getting very tangential here. Forgot what we was talking about to start me off on that one.
Bone broth and
the fasting.
The fasting
again, and it all comes around full circle again, doesn't it? Because it's so biblical. This whole thing about fasting, it's so good for you. So good for you, and it'll cure so many ailments.
Exactly.
My son, right, should now be in a wheelchair and be absolutely blind, have patched skin, and have half his hair, right? And he comes to work with me every single day, and he works his ass off, right? You know why? because he ignored all the advice from the specialists at the NHS.
Yeah.
He pretended to take a lot of the treatments once he'd educated himself.
Indeed.
And he fasted, and he juiced, and he fasted some more, and then he did more, and he basically fixed himself of one of the rarest ailments. There's only 2 specialists in the whole country, you know, right? And he pretended for the last like 6 visits he went to them that he was still taking these £1,000 injections and stuff.
Yeah.
And in the end, he had to say to him, look, I haven't been taking any of your stuff. One of the doctors, which gives you a little bit of encouragement, was amazed and wanted to know all about it.
Okay.
The other one poo-pooed it and went, oh, well, you've been looking at them. You know, but
Yes.
that's the problem, innit?
Yes.
That's the problem, because they're so up themselves that how dare you try and teach me something?
Well, look, and also, Christian, I've invested 10 plus years of time, of energy, of finances to obtain this position. Who are you as a nobody to challenge that?
Position of power. A position of power and greed. And imagine when it's £25 for just sticking a needle in someone's arm.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to keep coming back.
Hmm.
I mean, the cancer stuff that's off that. I've just come from seeing my mum. She's on death's door, basically, with bone cancer.
Oh,
and the truth is, as horrible as it is, they can't wait to get the next injections. You know, they'll have 3 or 4 to go. And knowing what I know and seeing the statistics that I'm seeing come out now, it's like I watched one of it on, is it John Campbell? The doctor, I dare say you've heard of him.
Yes.
I watched one of his recent ones last night, I think it was. I was watching it, I was like, wow. It's like you can't deny the statistics.
You can't. But Christian, it's not common sense because everyone would know it. It's just sense anymore. Common sense died in the 1980s, I think.
and you have to admit that you're wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
To admit that you're wrong takes a big set of cojones to be able to do that, because there's no point. It's easier to just ignorant bliss, isn't it? It's called, you know. And you've got to remember that 20% of people can think logically and systematically.
Yes.
The rest of them can't do it.
No.
So it's no good being angry with them, you know. I mean, like with all the lockdowns and all that, and I videoed myself getting in arguments and shit, and I got blocked on Facebook and all that. But then I realised, you know, it was like you can't teach people unless they want to listen. You can't make someone do something that they don't want to do. It's like trying to nag an alcoholic into not drinking. Not happening.
Yeah.
I've got to go through a process.
Indeed.
Now, the problem is with all these ignoramuses is they don't want to know. They don't want to know that they were wrong. They don't want to admit that they were wrong.
Ego.
They would rather die, mate. They would rather have the next thing that's coming down the line because the government said take it. You know?
Definitely. Christian, I think we definitely need to revisit and do a part 2, sir. I know your sleeping schedule is a little bit different to mine, so I've got 2 questions for you to wind this up. 2 questions. First one: have you had fun tonight?
I have, actually. I've never done a podcast before. I've done plenty of similar things. Been on TV, been on the radio. There's Black Country Radio. Come on. Yes, man, Black Country Radio. We make the big channel this week as well.
You're going to get on WM next.
So we got that. But this is the first ever podcast I've been on. So I was quite nervous, to be honest with you. I don't like being nervous about things, but
it's the unknown.
Absolutely. And another thing that I've learned through my journey over the last few years is you got to get out of that comfort zone, man. You got to do things you don't want to do. It's horrible. I mean, I keep saying this, and one day I will get in one of them cold plunge baths.
Ooh, that's a challenge in itself.
The amount of times I filled my bath up with ice cold water, convinced I'm going to get in it. I run it and I put my foot in and I'll go, come on, do it, get in. And I'll be like, no.
And you bottle it, and then you bottle it.
You know, I'm not in control of myself at that point.
Yeah.
I should be man enough and brave enough and in charge of my own brain enough to say, you're getting in the ice cold water, Christan.
Yes.
Get in the water right now, no questioning. But I'm not quite there yet.
Totally. I mean,
when I have done it, it's been one of the best experiences I've ever experienced.
A lot of the athletes I speak to say it's an excellent thing to do. It's an excellent thing to do.
The dopamine rush is like no drug will ever give it. Seriously.
Most definitely.
So amazing after it, but it's not for me at the moment. Maybe in the summer, if we have a 44-degree day.
There we go. There we go. Then it's needed.
Not in the winter.
Definitely not. Okay, so my very last one for you, sir, is please tell us who you are, but do not tell us your name.
Tell you who I am without telling my name. Okay. I'm someone that wants to grab the world by its shoulders and give them a good shake sometimes. Just give them a shake and say, look at this, look at this. Make your own mind up, but do it with your own mind. Actually use what that grey matter inside there. It's an amazing bit of kit, but just remember that only like 5% of it you're in control of. The rest of it, that's all your subconscious.
Yes.
Get to know your subconscious, man. I say to them, if ever I've got a problem, right, I get into bed. Honestly, I must look like a nutcase, right? And I'll sit on the side of my bed and I'll say, right, and I call my subconscious sub. I say, right, sub. Right, this is the problem. And I'll say it out loud, not in my head. I say it out loud. And I say, right, I want an answer for that. By tomorrow morning, I want to know why X and Z is blue, right? Then I go straight to sleep. I guarantee I'll wake up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And I don't even know what the question was. And I literally, that's why I've got all these whiteboards in here. I'll stumble in here, naked, right on the wall. I'll go back to bed. And in the morning, I'll wake up, I'll come in my office, I'll be like, shit, that's really clever. How did I come up with that? Because it's in here. It's all in there. We just don't know what we know. We honestly don't know what we know, my friend.
Best way to put it would be accessing the information. It's there. It's just how do you access it? You found a mode and methodology to be able to sit on the edge of the bed, to verbalize it, to program or to put that thought into the subconscious, and then allow the subconscious to do what it does.
And how did it know? How did it know, man? How do we know? How do we know what's wrong? That's the big question. How do you know? You know when you're a little kid. You know what's good. You know
innately in here.
Yeah, you don't need to be told. We've all done it. We've all killed some little animal, you know, because he was a boy. Oh, I don't know whether girls do it as well. I know boys usually have done it. You found some little insect or something and you thought, oh, I'll put its legs off it. Then you feel guilt and you're like, oh, what's that feeling? Well, what that feeling is, that's God. That's your God inside of you. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. And I think it's really strange how we all know the same things are right and wrong. We don't need that written down. We already know it. No matter what your culture is or where you're from in the world, that is in you, in all of us. Built from day one, from being a little baby to being a grown person, and all the bit in between. And no one really ever goes, well, why do we know those things? Why do we know it's wrong to murder? Why do we know it's wrong to even steal something? You just know.
Yes.
No one seems to be that bothered about that. I don't know why.
We'll try and buck that trend. We'll do our utmost to try and buck that trend in a local level, because as we know, we cannot affect the greater masses. We can only affect what's close within our circle and allow those ripples to go out there. So if we can continue doing that, we're doing our part. We're doing our part in this interesting plane of existence. Christian, it has been a very interesting and enlightening conversation. As I say, we'll definitely behind the scenes hurriedly arrange for the part 2. But thank you very much for your time, and I will make sure I put all the links below in the description, sir.
Okay, my friend, that's great. So I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing this. And next time, I think we should have it a little bit more. We'll talk about this and we'll talk about that, because as you